This free program is paid for by the listeners of WBAI New York. If you're not already a member, think about joining us to help keep free speech alive.
And it's 7:14 in the morning. You're listening to Pacifica Radio en Nueva York. I'm Ibrahim Gonzalez, joined by Reggie Johnson. I don't know if I've mentioned that so far, but Reggie is back on the block. Reg, man, so good to have you behind the controls.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, you're listening to Pacifica Radio. It's like about 7:14 in the morning. Hey, Let me get some coffee here. I have a very good friend of mine from many years, Mr. Edwin Pagan, joined by J.W. Cortez. They are both working on a film called Conscientious Objector. Want to welcome both of these hermanos to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And Conscientious Objector, just right off the hook, I said, this must be a real content-driven film. J.W., you wrote the story. You have a background in the military. You served as a gunny.
A gunny, that's right. Wow, I'm impressed.
In the Marines?
In the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay. There we go. What was your rank? Sergeant?
Gunnery sergeant for short. They call us gunny. It's a term of endearment.
Kind of goes with the turf, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
What inspired this story? I know it's based on some true events, but besides the true events, what was it that motivated you and compelled you to tell this story?
It's interesting. We first started off just simply talking about what we could do to keep ourselves engaged as artists, Edwin and I. And what turned out to be a 2-page mini project turned into a 30-plus page project. Along the way, I started to, delve into the experience that I had in Iraq during the invasion in 2003 as the world watched. I was out there with the Marine Corps. And one of the things that happened, without getting into too much detail, had always lingered in my mind, and I found myself going back to that place and saying to myself, you know what, write what you know. And from 2 pages, we exploded into 30-some-odd pages, and it's basically, that's how it happened, and Conscientious Objector is inspired by that event, you know.
Now, the premise of the film is a gunny sergeant that comes back to the United States after being in Iraq. Mm-hmm. Lives in the Bronx?
We don't really label where he's from. We want to just kind of leave that open for the audience. Yeah.
Should I out you guys as to where you're shooting the film?
Sure. Well, we have shot some in the Bronx. We actually did some work recently in the South Bronx, near the Bruckner Boulevard by the 3rd Avenue Bridge, which doubled actually for Iraq, which was interesting. And JW actually can name some of the locations because they're out of the city.
We've shot Staten Island, New Jersey. I've borrowed and begged and used everyone's homes, and I've just pretty much asked for help, and it's been a blessing. Everybody's pretty much said yes, not initially, but eventually.
So then you really, when the tire meets the road, you're shooting a film. You really see the people that are supporting you.
You see the people who are supporting you, and then you see the ones who are just a little bit reluctant. You know, the word film scares a lot of people.
How so?
Well, they imagine that you're going to take their house and you're going to just tear it up, and you're going to have trucks parked outside, and you're going to have a bunch of PAs, rubbing out cigarette butts on their hardwood floors, and we and Eddie and I guess have come up with this little game plan, these little magic rabbits that come out of our hats, and we just try to, pop them out every now and then and just calm people. Say, listen, this is a dream for a kid from Brooklyn, from Sunset Park, who just wants to put together something to show my people, our people, it can be done. And if you help me, I promise I'll come back and I'll give you that.
J.W. Cortez, what on a personal tip was the message that you really wanted to convey? What was your what was it about your experience that you took away with that is filtering through in this story in the film?
The war And that's such a term that I'm not really comfortable with. You know, people call it different things, the occupation, the liberation, whatever you want to call it. But it has inspired me in every single day that I've made it back home alive, you know, since that day in 2003. The message that I really wanted to convey in this film is that impact of war can filter and will filter on to every member of your family in one regard or the other, you know, and it's happened in my family. And at first, you come home from these experiences, and you're not really sure what to do with them at first. And you can do several things, we know. But one of the things that I found myself is that as I was trying to filter my experiences, it was also affecting my wife. It was affecting my children, and not in a negative way, but it was just simply affecting them. So I wanted to show that in this film how that experience can affect everyone that's involved in that nucleus of what we call a Marine.
In studio with J.W. Cortez, actor, writer, director, and also filmmaker, cinematographer, photographer, bon vivant, Edwin Pagan. Eddie, what was it that you signed on to this project to do? What attracted you to it?
Well, I mean, we had discussions. I mean, like J.W. said, the piece started out originally probably as a 2-page piece. It was originally going to be just a little segment for his reel, but once we started talking about the scope of the piece, we immediately knew that it was much larger than 2 pages. You know, creating short films is an art in itself, and we just knew that this would be bursting at the seams with what we could include and what we would have to omit. So we quickly, you know, I quickly said, well, let's definitely do something a little broader. And the more we talked about it, the more we saw that it not only was it relevant to things that are happening today, but also things that have happened before and will happen again, unfortunately. And what we thought was that it was right material for us to be creative on many levels. So JW got to work right away in expanding the story, and we would talk about it every now and then, and he would send me more pages. And right away, since, you know, I've worked many years as a cinematographer, I could just, you know, see how rich it would be in terms of the image as a visual medium. And the story itself in many levels, although it has scripted word, there's dialogue, it is also very cinematic in the way that we've been shooting it. And as he said, we've been fortunate because we've been given access to a great many good locations. We've shot in prisons and courts. We've shot out in locations where you have to do a double take and say, where exactly is that? You know, because we've tried to also make it that it could be in anywhere America. So in some settings it looks like it could be an urban landscape, and other it looks a little bit more rustic, you know, and in many respects and on all accounts very beautiful. And you know, and we took it from there. And I think that it's going to be a film that's going to be taken and digest on many levels, because you know, it's a piece that you have to kind of look at and say, wow, you know, this is actually what happens while we're back home, you know, going to the movies, making love to our partners, etc., while people are doing this on a daily basis. But not only that, but as the backbone and theme of the film is sometimes the people that are out there trying to maintain the peace for us, and there's debate about that as well, whether that's the true intention. At least on the government level, I think our troops do a good job of doing what they're out there to do, you know. But also, what is exactly that these people go through? And I think, as what happens to J.W. and his character, he's caught between a rock and a hard place, because he didn't commit the atrocity, but he's also loyal to the troop that was killed in action in committing the crime. And, you know, so he's torn between what could happen to himself, the consequences that are going to come on him for actually being loyal to one of his fellow Marines who was also killed immediately after he committed the murder. So, and most of the film is about that, you know, whether you're loyal to the people that you're doing things for or yourself.
Well, these are the kind of conflicts that a lot of veterans have faced for the longest time. Everything from, I guess, there are probably still veterans alive from the First World War on through World War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam, and now the war in the Middle East. Just curious about the medium. Are you shooting on 16 millimeter or are you shooting on digital video?
No, we're actually shooting digital. We're shooting with P2, with the Panasonic HVX200, and which is a really good camera. If you light for it really well, it really holds up really nicely. And it's also the way we're shooting because a lot of it is being done. We only have limited access to locations. Shooting digital allows us also to turn it around very quickly, as long as we're prepared on set in a stage kind of way to actually, kind of download the medium, the digital medium. It allows us to continue to keep shooting without, losing acquiring the material that we need to capture.
How soon are you wrapping up the film, and then when can people expect for it to take screen?
That's a question I would love to answer. Well, we're currently waiting for our lead actress, Giselle Rodriguez, who's out in LA right now working on some stuff. She'll be back by the end of this month, and once she's in town, we're going to wrap up 2 more days of shooting, and then we go into the magical land of post. I'm excited. I'm nervous, but excited.
What do you hope to be showing the film?
I tell you, I would love to premiere in my hometown, New York City, via the film festivals. I think I've made myself a little nice nest at the New York International Latino Film Festival with Calixto and those wonderful people over there. So it'd be a dream come true, to be honest with you.
So I know that the film has internet presence. I've seen numerous postings on Facebook, among other places. How can people keep abreast of the development of the film?
Well, I mean, we do have a Facebook page, and all you have to do is really go on Facebook and kind of search for Conscientious Objector, the movie, because there's a couple of other pages for Conscientious Objector, which is a different thing, and they'll find it, and basically they can get on. And we also have a Facebook page, a website called Conscientious Objector Movie, and the movie?
Actually, yeah, www.co-themovie.com.
Okay,
very good.
Great. Hey, guys, thanks for coming on, and I'm going to expect another visit once you guys wrapped it up, and we can
absolutely
talk about it in more length and let people know when and where the screening will take place. J.W. Cortez, Edwin Pagan, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.